USA Jobs just announced that federal resumes will now be only 2 pages. What does that mean for you? Absolutely nothing. Because here's the thing, federal internships versus congressional internships are separate. People most of the time, people don't really believe this at the very beginning. But federal internships are under the executive branch. Meanwhile, congressional internships are under the legislative branch. So when it comes to resumes, for congressional opportunities, like many other opportunities, you want to limit it to 1 page. These are not federal resumes. These are not in a specific format. These are just like a generic, regular resume. And in this video, I'm going to show you how you can keep it to 1 page, especially as a student that you want to overachieve. Sometimes you want to overdo it, but concision is precision. But before we get into it, I just want to share that capable students aren't usually the people who are landing these internships. It is people with connections, it is people with the right network around them. Perhaps they know somebody that knows somebody that is helping them to get these opportunities. But there are so many students, especially within the minority category, that are more than able to land these internships, right? And that's why I'm here. I'm here to bridge that gap because there are people out there that are taking opportunities from people who have the GPA, who have the extracurriculars, who have the experience. And if they don't, they have the grit and the desire to attain these opportunities, right? That's why I'm building the biggest online community for congressional interns, the Hilton Hub. And if you haven't heard about it, it's your opportunity to learn step-by-step process how to land a congressional opportunity. If that's something you're interested in, click the first link in the description. Otherwise, stay tuned for the rest of the video. So the number one way to keep your resume to 1 page is to remove the objective statement. Oftentimes, people are telling you to either have an objective statement, summary of your resume at the very top. Maybe if you've had over 10, 15 years of experience and you want to be very specific to the opportunity, do you then want to share a brief summary of what it is that you've accomplished? Nonetheless, when you're a student, this is just taking space away from precious material that can be volunteer experience, extracurriculars, right? It could be paid experiences, even if that's hospitable, even if that's fast food industry, or just other internships you've had in the process, right? So if you're seeking those opportunities, you want to make sure your resume is limited to just 1 page and that you're able to have as much space as possible to make it the best resume for yourself. And the best way to do that is the first things first, just remove that objective statement. Now, if you feel like there's details there, there's bullet points that summarize your resume very well, your experiences very well. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take those experiences and you're going to want to put them on your cover letter. Save those bullet points or put it on other parts of your resume or put it on your cover letter. Second rookie mistake is using over 6 bullet points on any given experience. Now, let's backtrack. You are a student, right? There should not be any reason you could not condense any of your experiences to less than 6 bullet points. Ideally, you want to keep it between 3 to 6 bullet points. Ideally, right? You do not want to go over 6 bullet points. No career coach, no recruiter will recommend anybody of any experience level to put over 6 bullet points on their resume. At that point, it's not concise, it's a summary, it's a paragraph, it's too much information. A lot of your experiences could be condensed to just those 6 bullet points. Now, if you want help condensing those 6 bullet points, oftentimes with a student, you don't really need to remove anything. You just gotta consolidate the most important experiences that you've had. Now, if you're really having trouble and you don't know where to start, you're like, listen, I think these 7 opportunities, these 7 experiences, whatever, these 7 bullet points are all valuable for me. Then what I want you to do is I want you to just look at the job description and pick the 6 most relevant things. And if you look at the job description and only 4 of them are relevant, keep only the 4 ones, right? And that will give you more opportunity to then maybe instead of it being just a 6 word bullet point, then you can perhaps put it into like a 2 line bullet point where you're explaining a little bit more detail, right? So, but at the very least, you do not want to have over 6 bullet points. That's just going to overhaul your resume and overhaul any given experience, no matter what. You are a student, and I'm sorry to hate to break it to you, but there is no experience as a student that would justify having more than 6 bullet points. If a CEO of a company shouldn't have more than 6 bullet points on his resume, you shouldn't either. Now, this one is just a very simple trick that will easily get you to more space on a one-page resume, and that is fixing your margins, right? So when it comes to fixing your margins, it's very simple. Usually, the standard Word document, Google document, whatever you use nowadays, it's gonna be a 1 inch margin, and you just condense it to half an inch. That's pretty much what you can do. And if you really want to be conservative, I think at times you could do it to like 0.25 inch, and it'll still look okay. Now, my recommendation is 0.5 inch. That's something that where a lot of people won't notice. It actually most of the time is a standard resume. Most people are not doing a 1 inch resume. If you have it like that, it's a rookie mistake. Most people do not have it laid out that way. A resume should be a condensed margin so you can fit more on one page. The point is to make it as visually appealing as possible while balancing the most information as possible in a condensed format that will be easy to read for the recruiter, right? And so a one page is just it's just too condensed, it's just too short of the page to be able to fit all your experiences for the average person. But if you fix up your margins, you're gonna realize you're gonna have a lot more space, and that's gonna free up space for you to add more of your relevant experiences towards this opportunity. The fourth point is to tailor your resume to the congressional internship. Now's not the time to put the volunteer experience that you fostered two cats in high school. Now's the time to showcase that you were part of the Modern United Nations team, that you were part of the mock trial team, that you were part of a internship experience in the legal industry, that you have paid work experience, right? This is the opportunity to do it, right? So if there's anything that's very irrelevant from what you're doing, do not add it. Now, mind you, I'm not speaking of opportunities like working at McDonald's or even office work. All these opportunities, even though they're not specifically tailored to your resume, if you're speaking to somebody, if you're working on administrative tasks, if you're showcasing some sort of leadership, those are opportunities where you can add that to your resume. I'm not here to hinder you. I'm here to just say that a lot of people will want to extend to that second page. So if you're having issue going past a second page and maintaining a one-page resume, that is where you have to look at your experiences and think this is not as relevant as this experience. The people that watch my channel are very experienced individuals, and they're going to want to put every scholarship they've earned. They're going to want to put every extracurricular. And I'm sorry, but if you're the treasurer for 4 clubs and that is too much to put on your resume, choose only the most relevant ones. I promise you that the most relevant ones with the most experience are going to get you the most bang for your buck. And I will also promise you that there are no people doing 4 different extracurriculars and overachieving in all of it worthy enough to be put on your resume and to go past to a second page. If you can think this is worthy enough to go to a second page where a recruiter has to take time out of the average time that they usually look at a resume, which is just 6 seconds, to flip over the page, to scroll past just to see that one experience of the club that you're barely a part of, but you somehow became a treasurer, it's not worth it. So listen to me and do as I say, and you will be able to land that opportunity. You'll be able to have a one-page resume, and you'll be able to submit that application. The last point is to lower your font slightly, right? Unless there's specific requirements specified by the application, it's okay to go down to maybe 11-point font or even 10-point font. Now, the reason I left this for last is because it's going to be very tempting for students, similar to the margin situation, to justify, oh, I already have my one-page resume. It's going over to the second page. Let me just lower the font. This only works if you already did the margins, if you know they're all relevant experiences, and perhaps there's maybe like a couple lines bleeding into the second page. and you followed all these other steps. If you followed all these other steps and you can still see a couple lines waiting on the other page, then yeah, and it's 12-point font, it's 11-point font, lower it minimal, lower it at the minimum to a 10. At the minimum. That's you don't want to go lower than 10. And especially as a student, 11 to 12 is where you want to stand. Like I said, most people apply to jobs, get opportunities in the four horsemen of tech, in the big opportunities in finance, in all these major corporations with one-page resume. So this is the resume you're going to be updating, you're going to be utilizing for the rest of your career. Do you really want to start off your footing as a student at a 10-point font or even 9-point font? There's no reason to. You want to keep it between 11 and 12. And even then, you want to keep it conservative. So now's the time where you could condense your resume the most, which is why it was a bit tricky for me whether I was worth it to make this video. But when I saw the USA Jobs posted that their maximum requirement for USA job applications for federal positions is going to be 2 pages. Even now, the federal government is getting into this. Now, mind you, I'm going to remind you that does not apply to congressional internships. Congressional internships are separate. These are elected members of Congress. They're representatives. They do not work with the executive branch, with established government agencies like the U.S. Justice Department, like all these different industries, U.S. Department of State. Those internships you're going to find through USA Jobs. These are separate and you're going to go through a different route to apply to them. So these you do want to keep at one page. But federal opportunities, that's not something that I currently am looking to niche down on. But those, that's different. Usually, those opportunities were around 4 pages, 5 pages long, depending on your experience. And so if you're used to that, this video is even more relevant to you because you're going to want to condense it to one page when applying to congressional opportunities. That's not really going to work when it comes to the 4 pages, the 5 pages. Even now, it's maxed out to 2 pages as USA Jobs posted. It's not going to work for commercial internships. I used a one-page resume, and you can too. See you next time.